All right, today we are digging into one of the most exciting science stories to come out in, well, a very long time. NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission went out, grabbed a piece of a 4.5 billion-year-old asteroid named Bennu, and brought it home. And what scientists found inside? Well, it might just rewrite the entire story of how you, me, and everything else got here. So yeah, let's dive right in.
You know, it's the biggest question of them all, isn't it? How did life on Earth begin? It's something we've been trying to figure out for centuries. We've scoured our own planet for clues. But the problem is, Earth is constantly changing. It's so geologically active that it's basically erased all the evidence from its earliest days. The trail went cold. So, to find the answer, we had to look up.
So where do you even start with a question that huge? Well, scientists have had a leading theory for a while now about what life's very first draft might have looked like. A kind of simple, elegant blueprint that could have kicked this whole thing off. It's a really cool idea called the RNA World Hypothesis. Basically, the theory goes that before our complex, super stable DNA showed up, life used a much simpler molecule, RNA. You can think of RNA as life's original multi-tool. It could store genetic information, sure, but it could also act like an enzyme and get chemical reactions going. It was like the all-in-one starter kit for biology. But, and this is a huge but, this theory has always had one giant nagging problem.
And that problem is called the Ribose Paradox. See, RNA's entire structure, its backbone, is built from a sugar called ribose. Here's the catch, though. Ribose is ridiculously fragile. If you put it in water, like on the early Earth, it would have just dissolved almost instantly. Think of it like a sugar cube in hot tea. Poof, gone. So how could life get started using a key ingredient that was just too unstable to stick around? For decades, this question was a massive roadblock for the whole theory.
To solve a mystery like that, you need a witness. You need a sample from the very dawn of our solar system, something that hasn't been touched or changed by Earth's environment. And that is where our hero, the asteroid Bennu, enters the story. It's basically a perfectly preserved 4.5 billion-year-old time capsule floating in space. And let me tell you, getting a piece of Bennu was a truly epic undertaking. The OSIRIS-REx spacecraft traveled for years just to get there. Then it had to pull off this incredibly daring touch-and-go maneuver to basically vacuum up some dust and rocks from the surface and then fly all the way back to drop that precious cargo safely in the Utah desert. Just an amazing feat of engineering. And this is what it was all for. 121.6 grams. Now, that might not sound like a lot. It's about half a cup of sugar. But this is the largest, pristine asteroid sample ever brought back to Earth by a U.S. mission. Every single speck of this dark, cosmic dust could hold the answers we've been looking for. Can you just feel the excitement in that quote? For more than a year, the science team was analyzing the sample in total secrecy, making sure every finding was checked and double-checked. They knew they were sitting on something world-changing, something that could completely shift our understanding of where we come from. The pressure must have been immense. And this is where it all clicks into place. This is the moment the team found the answer to that huge, nagging question about the Ribose Paradox. They found the missing ingredient. And there it is, right there in that dark dust from Bennu, they found it, ribose, that fragile, absolutely essential sugar needed to build the backbone of RNA. This discovery proved it wasn't just possible for ribose to form in the early solar system, it was actually there, locked away and preserved inside an asteroid for billions and billions of years.
Okay, so here's the really brilliant part. It's not just about what they found, but also what they didn't find. So yes, they found ribose, the sugar for RNA. They also found glucose, which is a key energy source for life. But, and this is key, they did not find deoxyribose, the sugar that makes up DNA. That absence is a huge clue. It's powerful evidence suggesting that RNA's building blocks were just floating around everywhere in the early solar system, while DNA's weren't. That's a massive point in favor of the RNA World Hypothesis.
But believe it or not, the story gets even better, because it turns out Bennu wasn't just carrying one missing piece of the puzzle. Nope, it was carrying the entire cosmic recipe for life.
First up, the code. You need the letters to write the instructions, right? Well, they found all 5 nucleobases, the A, G, C, U, and T that spell out everything in both RNA and DNA. All of them.
present and accounted for.
Okay, so you've got the code. What's next? You need the workers. And they found those too. Amino acids, the little molecules that link up to build proteins, which are basically the tiny machines that do all the actual work inside our cells.
And finally, you need something to hold it all together, right? The glue? And yep, they found phosphates, the stuff that connects the sugars and the nucleobases to create that long, stable backbone structure of RNA and DNA.
Now, this is just incredible. It's one thing to have all the raw ingredients, but you also need a kitchen, a place to mix them all up. And Bennu had proof of that too. They found minerals called evaporites. These things only form when salty water dries up, which proves that Bennu's parent asteroid once had a wet, briny environment. The absolute perfect place for all these ingredients to come together, react, and start building something new.
So let's just step back and look at the whole picture here. Bennu literally had it all. The sugars like ribose for the backbone, all 5 nucleobases for the genetic code, the amino acids to build the proteins, the phosphates to hold the whole structure together, and, to top it all off, the evidence of a salty water environment to mix it all in. It is literally a complete prebiotic starter pack, delivered in a single cosmic package.
But, just when you think the mystery is solved, Bennu throws us a few more curveballs. The analysis turned up some things that were completely unexpected, adding some really fascinating new layers to this whole story.
Okay, get this. They found some kind of material that one of the scientists actually called space plastic or space gum. How wild is that? It's this flexible, polymer-like gunk that's full of nitrogen and oxygen, and it is totally unlike anything we have ever seen in a meteorite before. We're still trying to figure out exactly what it is.
And here's another shocker. Bennu has 6 times more pre-solar dust than any meteorite we've ever studied. Now, what that means is these are tiny microscopic grains of material that were forged in ancient supernova explosions. We're talking about stuff that existed before our own sun was even born. It just shows what an incredibly ancient and primitive object Bennu really is. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? I think that's that the building blocks of life, they aren't some rare magical thing that happened only on Earth. It seems like they're actually pretty common. They form naturally on asteroids and get delivered like cosmic care packages all across the solar system, and they have been for billions of years. And that, of course, leaves us with one final, absolutely profound question. If the universe is full of these cosmic recipe boxes, are we the only ones who ever figured out how to cook? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.